You know,
what do you think about this Atlantic story about Trump disparaging the military?
I didn't read that.
So there's this big like story out that's like a lot of the media is trying to make it into a huge scandal. I don't know if there's how successful they're being, but apparently when Trump was in like France in 2018, and they were going to go to like the cemetery near Paris that is like where all the like white crosses are from World War II, all the like fallen American soldiers. It's like a very famous, iconic American cemetery in France, and like they were going to go there, but apparently Trump was like, why would we go there? They're like a bunch of losers and suckers.
Dude,
that, like,
he literally said he did. John McCain, he was like, I like the ones that don't get captured.
And that's what the article was about. I mean, it talked about that, but all these other instances of him apparently do it that like apparently like close sources to the presidency like report on, and the media is running with it. I know it doesn't sound like any. I know it sounds like nothing new, and it is nothing new. But they're trying to like really whip up this whole thing. Like Trump is like hates the military and disrespects the military. All of the like Democrats are coming out and they're like, this is disgusting. Even like Bernie was like, but you know, these are patriots, not suckers and losers. And like everyone's just like, and I'm just like, okay, but like, do we really think anyone doesn't
keep seeing Kumbaya with Colin Powell? And
yeah, and that's the other thing. It's like, all right, we can talk about that all we want, but like, let's not act like under Obama didn't send literal American troops to die. Like that, how is that not just as insulting? I'd rather be called a sucker and a loser than be sent to die for foreign oil and, you know, imperialist motives. Like, yeah. I mean, I get it.
Not to mention the 200,000 civilians that died.
Yeah, yeah, but it's just so outrageously hypocritical of the Democrats to be like, oh, like no, you can't say naughty words about the patriots that serve in these wars, but it's totally fine if you want to keep sending them to those wars to die.
Yeah, like, to get fucking killed.
Yeah, there's no acknowledgement
broken,
of the fact
psychologically, that, like, you know.
Yeah. PTSD and like I was talking about this earlier with Beth. Like a lot of these kids, you know, they get recruited when they're too young to even understand what PTSD is. They don't even understand the like implications of going to serve in a war and actually going to a war.
Like 7 times.
Yeah, they have their biggest.
Yeah, you're poor as fuck. You can't afford college. You don't have any opportunities. You're either going to go be poor and live, you know, in poverty, or you can sign in the military. And they're like, see, then you can go to college, and then you can, okay, that sounds good. And they're like, you get healthcare, and you can take care of your family, and you can send money back home, and you know, they give you a real pitch, and that's why we don't have fucking healthcare in this country. That's why we don't have free college in this country. Yeah. It's so we can feed our fucking military industrial complex and the corporations.
Yep, and protect the, you know, profits of oil companies that want to control the resources of developing countries.
Maintain global U.S. hegemony.
Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, I just think it's insulting that they're acting like the biggest scandal is not the fact that, you know, Trump tore up the Iran deal and almost sent us into a war with Iran, which would have, you know, killed hundreds of thousands of people, could have sent us into World War III. I mean, that should be the real scandal that the Democrats are attacking on. This man should not have access to the red button. This man should not have access to the largest military ever created. He's an unhinged lunatic that almost sent us to war with Iran. Instead, they're attacking him over the fact that he supposedly called, you know, fallen heroes suckers and losers, which, like, sure, I mean, no president should say that. That is language beneath the presidency. I'm not denying that in any way, but it's just funny that the Democrats always attack Trump over rhetoric and always attack Trump over style and aesthetics instead of substance.
Yep. That's their thing, man. Yeah. That's the whole game, right? It's just the game of it's the opposition. It's like opposition theatrics, basically. Like who's playing what side? It's like like in debate class where it's like everybody gets assigned an argument, and then, you know, you all go do it, but you all, you know, you're all just play, you know.
And it really just does, you know, drive home the point that like there really is no anti-war party. You know, both the Democrats and the Republicans blindly worship the U.S. military without questioning like why we're there, what we're like, what the necessity of it. Even, you know, something that I have a kind of an issue with some of the leftists.
Either get neoconservative or neoliberal. Like, you know,
and even the like Bernie Sanders flank of the party, I don't think is talking enough about, you know, defunding the military. Like instead, maybe our ideas of Medicare for all and stuff would be a little bit possible. I don't know. This is just a suggestion, but maybe they'd be more popular if instead of paying for them via taxes, we paid for them by defunding 1/3 of the military. That might sound like a crazy idea, but I think that's more palatable for a lot of people. People have been so brainwashed against taxes.
Yeah, but people are also pretty brainwashed against the military, dude.
I don't know, dude. I don't think a lot of people.
But I think that is definitely that's subsiding at a much quicker rate than the taxation one, for sure.
Wait, what do you mean?
Oh, I think that people are definitely brainwashed about both taxes and the military, but I think you're correct in saying that the military is starting to wane a lot faster than taxes are. Like, there's definitely still a large swath of the population that unquestionably will follow what the military says.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure.
But those people that segment of the population is shrinking dramatically. Like, and I think if you look at over the past 20 years, like, think about how like everybody was supporting like if you watch old news clips and like even if you just remember like 2003, I was 5. And I can still remember, like, everybody was pro the war. You had to, like, people were calling them freedom fries. Do you remember that? Like, even though they're from Belgium.
Yeah, that's why, like, the Dixie Chicks got,
like, the Dixie Chicks, exactly.
They got, like, shut down
now because they decided that was, racially motivated 20 years later.
Exactly. But, yeah. But, no, it's crazy, like, to what extent. And I think that, if think about it, if there's, like, a terrorist attack on the American embassy in Iran or something like that, Joseph Biden is definitely going to war with Iran, dude. There's no chance that if any of American soldiers hurt in Iran by the Iran, that he would definitely take the bait and go straight into that war. I don't think there's literally any doubt. And
if the MIC wanted it, he would fake it and go in anyway. I mean, that's what
I'm saying. Terrorist attack. I don't think such a thing would happen. But when the Gulf of Tonkin 2 happens, and we need to all of a sudden occupy and invade Iran for their oil deposits, then unfortunately I don't think that the Democrats are going to call out Biden for it. I think they're going to, back him up and support him. I think they're going to be like, had to be done, because now the Democrats are the Republicans of the early 2000s, and that's, what they want. Now, I don't know I can't say that Trump wouldn't also do the same thing, but I mean, he didn't technically invade Iran, so I don't know, dude.
Yep. But he did impose massive economic sanctions on them and basically push them to the brink of war on every turn. So, I mean, I don't know. And I do think I don't think it's to be underestimated that a president would become more hawkish in their second term. That's something
but Biden already has a history of being hawkish. Trump technically does not have that history.
That's true.
I mean, Biden is like one of the architects of the...
I mean, I would say that they're both hawkish. I would just say that Biden is far more hawkish.
Yeah, I think Biden has more of a history of being hawkish. That's why I'm, frankly, on a global level, I think he'll be just as disastrous for the foreign policy-wise than Donald Trump. I think that all of his strengths lay domestically. I mean, I'm not arguing.
I think that Joe Biden would get back into the Paris Climate Agreement.
Climate change, I agree. I think.
That's a global issue. That's foreign policy.
I mean, foreign policy is in, like, military.
Sure. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'd be interested. And then also when you think about the rise in other superpowers, I mean, Joe Biden is going to be just as nationalistic and just as, and also, he could be pushed into war with Russia. I mean, the Democrats have basically been trying to make that happen ever since 2016. Yeah, that's true. Do you think that we would go to war with Russia? Bounties on American soldiers and all this. That was such a horseshit story, too. Everybody knew it was fake. I know. Not everyone, dude. The Democrats, like a lot of the. Oh no! I meant like a lot of the people that heard it. Like not obviously like people were pushing it on the news hard, but like I mean that just came across. I feel like to most people, it's like I don't know about that. Yeah, dude, but I do. Maybe see that's just me. I definitely see a lot of establishment types. I see a lot of establishment types trying to like suggest that like Donald Trump is, letting Putin kill American troops and doing nothing while Putin slaughters American soldiers and like all this crazy talk. Like, I'm sure Rachel Maddow gets on and says that every night. I don't know. I feel like it's starting to lose its potency. It's no different than the Republicans saying that Obama is a puppet of radical ISIS, terrorists. It's literally no different than that. Yeah. It's craziness. It's really crazy, right? How the Democrats have adopted like neo-McCarthyism type, like Russia, nuclear-armed superpower. Yeah. Like, can we maybe hit the brakes on escalating with a nuclear-armed superpower that like is not necessarily friendly to us and has an increasingly ambitious plans to expand? Like I don't know, man, maybe that's not the best idea, is to be on their like bad side. Yeah, dude, it's like well yeah, I don't know, man. I just feel like we should ultimately, with China and Russia, just have a pretty hands-off approach, and as far as our like meddling with them and their regions. Yeah, I mean, for sure we need to. I mean, the ultimate. Well, I think the real only path for survival for like humankind is to move towards a more global government. I think that's what we have to do for sure. But yeah, I would agree with that. And also, at some point, we need to get rid of the nukes. Like that has to happen at some point. Yeah, because that is That's a
pretty
ticking
like
time bomb, no pun
yeah.
intended.
I feel like no one like people want to talk about climate change, but no one wants to talk about the fact.
That's actually one thing I like about the Green Party. Like Howie Hawkins is actually like talking.
Yeah.
He'll talk about
Nuclear
denuclearization and
Jill
that.
Stein made it a big
No,
issue
but
too.
Bernie Sanders, I don't think I've ever heard Bernie Sanders bring up denuclearization.
Yeah.
Like,
No.
I mean, at least
It's
not in
something
his
that's-
presidential run. He may have
Yeah.
mentioned it in his like.
It's still pretty
career.
like taboo as far as to bring it up in your stump speech or whatever. And
yeah, and that's one of the things that I do appreciate about the Green Party, and that's something that I would like to see like something like the People's Party get behind.
Yeah, like really push for a real international diplomacy to promote peace and like I've talked about, that was one of the things I really appreciated that Marianne Williamson brought to the table in her run, was that she proposed turning the Department of Defense into the Department of Peace. Turning it from a militaristic institution into a diplomatic
one. Yeah,
because I mean we are still one of the world's superpowers. Our diplomatic sway and leverage is immense. It cannot be understated when it comes to trade, when it comes to relations in pretty much any regard. So to think that we couldn't leverage that and to create peace around the world is insane and honestly nihilistic. Like, I mean, people say that the U.S. is exceptional and American exceptionalism and all that stuff. Well, maybe we should be using that for good and not, destructive militaristic purposes. Crazy idea, but that was, she offered a path forward in that respect, I think. And yeah, I think you're correct that to some extent we are going to have to, really focus on not globalism when it comes to economics necessarily, but unity and peace for sure.